Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of Walking 90. It's great to see everyone's lovely face again. It's been a while since we've done an episode because life is real. Anniversary trips, people going to Fargo, people going to Australia, people
Going to
going to Denver. People,
Colorado.
I think there was like a solid 2 weeks where I think the whole crew was like, "Yeah, we're not home." Like,
I think there was only like 1 week where I was like, maybe we could do it, and then just never got around to actually planning it.
yeah, nah, man. Life be life. Man. It's hard. It's
It happens.
hard. Also, I would say this, man. I thought Virginia was hot. New Orleans is different.
Yeah, I was gonna
It's
say
different.
I know someone that grew up there, and every time they're just like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah,
I
man.
simply cannot do it.
It's hot, man. Like, and the other thing too, like Bourbon Street, I'll give you one night. After that, I couldn't do it no more.
Yeah, that's fair.
Couldn't do it
I
no
feel
more.
like that's how I am with whatchamacallit, with Denver. When I was in Denver, I was like, I could do a long like weekend trip. I cannot live there. Like I get the appeal, but I could not live there.
I couldn't. I couldn't, man. I couldn't. Just with the heat, hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. Couldn't do it. But talking about teams moving, man, we got a lot of things moving and shaking along USL League One. I mean, once again, it's been a while since we've done this. Um, God, it's probably almost been like a month.
It's been about a month.
Yeah. So I say let's kind of fast pace everyone up. What's going on in the month? So give you a quick update, a look at the good old table as it stands right now. NCFC is number one. Forward Madison comes in two. NOCO's three. Union Hall four. Charlotte five. Greenville six. Tormenta seven. Richmond eight. Knoxville nine. Lexington 10. Fuego 11. Chattanooga 12. Yay. That's the table. It's been some big movers and shakers. We've seen NOCO go from first place, drop down. We've seen North Carolina go from first place, drop. I don't think as Madison's been first.
Madison was on top, I think, like a week.
Yeah, drop. Charlotte was up there, haven't been up there in a while. They've slowly been falling behind. Greenville and Union, Omaha popped up the table. South Georgia and Richmond. It seems like every time they're about to kick on, they kick themselves and fall out. Knoxville kind of sputtering.
They're hitting a wall.
Yeah, Lexington's kind of sputtering. Fuego and Chattanooga have been ever consistently bad.
Yeah.
It seems like how it's gone so far. Anything else under the past moment? I know Hart. Shout out to Coach Hart, and by the way, hope he's doing well and recovering. Hart he watches the show, so wishing him the best. But shout out to him and Olex Anderson, who have both been named Coach of the Month and Player of the Month. So shout out to them.
Yeah, I think the other aspect, I know Jimmy Weekly, our favorite Cash App coach, he also had some health thing, so wishing him a speedy recovery as well. Yeah, I feel like the two most interesting races is probably going to be the Golden Boot and the playoff race. I think those are going to be the two where it's like, this could get potentially interesting, especially if some of the other players in the Golden Boot actually continue the form that they're on.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it looks juicy up there. Wow, I'm trying to pull that up. Let's take a minute. Let's talk about how in this past month, like it seems like this month has been a defining month for teams. Like it kind of seems like, all right, if you're gonna make your playoff push, make it now, because if not, it's gonna be rough come August.
It feels like this past month, it's July and August are kind of like the 2 months where it's like, you either feel good about your chances of making the playoffs or you're starting to feel the doubt. And these are probably the 2 months that you don't want a really bad slump to kick in. And I think with this league, one bad month can really F up your season.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it countless times, and I think you can recover from it depending. Like Omaha and Greenville started the season absolutely terrible, and they've been able to pick it back up, while NOCO started the season amazing, and they've lost their last three. So but I don't think it's going to affect them like making the playoffs. But NOCO was going from probably going to get the 1 seed to maybe gets a bye potentially, but we can't like fully guarantee that kind of thing.
Yeah, it really can't, man. I'm gonna put that on the back burner for a second. I got the Golden Boot list pulled up. So right now, as I say, I'm just gonna only give you the top 5. Alexander Duoff is on 9 goals. He has 1 penalty goal. Noah Menza has 9 goals. No penalties. My apologies. Emiliano Terzaghi, 10 goals, 4 penalties. Olex has 11 goals, no penalties. And Trevor Almond, who is 2 goals away from tying the all-time USL League One single-season record at 18, is on 16. He has 2 penalties.
And then Rafa has like 8 penalties.
Yeah, Rafa got 4 out of his 9. So
did he get like 2 or 3 of them last week, like this past Saturday?
I think so. Even in the game of Richmond, I went in there knowing like Rafa's going to score.
Yeah,
because it happens. It happens against Richmond. Rafa always finds a way how to score. Like against Noco, like Margaret Hernandez is going to find a way how to score. I don't know how. He just does. Does. But yeah, so that's your Golden Boot race right now. If I had to put my money on it, man, it seems like it's Trevor's to lose. It seems like it's his to lose.
Yeah, I feel like Terzaghi and Anderson are probably the 2 that if anyone is going to catch them, it's likely going to be one of those 2. Yeah. And that's more because with Terzaghi, he is kind of like that main goal scorer for Richmond. So Richmond is going to score. It's likely going to be because of him.
Yeah.
While with Anderson, there's enough attack. There's enough attacking quality that he's shown that if he gets close enough to the box and gets a shot off, he's probably going to score. So I think it's between those 2. I mean, Castro's doing pretty well. How much of that are like maybe how much of it is teams just not taking Greenville as much of an attacking threat? Meza's another one where he has that capability. Diouf is like Meza and Diouf kind of feel like the same 2, where it's like when they're on, like when they score, they get 2. They'll probably get a brace. Like if they're scored, they're going to get a brace. Yeah. But then there's like gaps in between, and I kind of feel like that's where they are. So I would say Anderson and Terzaghi are probably the 2. But I'd be shocked if Amon didn't win it.
I wouldn't be shocked if Amon wins it either. It just seems like Emiliano, for him to win it, man, a lot of things will have to go right for Richmond, and they haven't been in the past month. For Olex, I mean, he's only 5 behind. And I think if your title goes, I think the tiebreaker is how many of your goals come from penalties, if I'm not mistaken. So it seems as if, like, if that happens, it seems like we'll go to Olex.
Maybe North Carolina kind of be like, wait, we should let this guy take the penalties now just so he can catch up.
Probably so. But, you know, and it's still funny because Emiliano started the season, we were like, what's wrong with him? And then he just randomly happens to get 10 goals and have 4 straight seasons of 10 goals, which is hella impressive.
Yeah.
Hella impressive. So kind of going back to the table, how everything's looking out there, Kyle, is there any team that for you whose stock has really gone up, or is any team whose stock has really gone down for you?
I mean, for a team whose stock has kind of gone down, I would say Knoxville. I think they've lost 4 of their past 5, and the one win that they had was a scrappy 1-0 win against Fuego. So this was something that we were kind of curious about with Knoxville at the beginning. We thought they would be a playoff team, but we also recognize that move up from League 2 to League 1 is going to be difficult because you're playing a longer season than what you're used to in League 2. But with the players that they brought in, maybe they could buck that trend, and it just hasn't happened. It seems like they've hit that wall all of a sudden, and how much of that is the penalties that were benefiting them stop coming in? How much of that is teams just being able to kind of pinpoint where to like slow them down and stop them? I don't fully know, but I think that's probably been like the team that has really stood out in terms of like the stock going down, just because I thought we would expect more out of them, but they're third to bottom in goals scored. They're still middle-ish of the pack in goals conceded. So it's not a bad thing, but also Jalen Chrysler keeps getting yellow cards, and that's not going to help your situation when your best defender is not available.
No, not at all.
And they concede the most fouls. like
Yeah.
at 318.
So the team for me whose stock is down is I'm gonna go with Richmond. No wins in their last five. Every other team has a win in their last 5 games. Richmond does not. They had 3 draws, 2 losses, 8 goals scored, 11 goals conceded, um, a -3 goal differential. You got a 3-1 loss to Noco in there. Yeah, 2-1 disappointing Derby loss to Fort Madison in there. Um, a contentious 2-2 draw with Lexington, a game that Richmond should have won. And then another 2-2 draw with Charlotte, a game we should have won. And then a 2-2 with North Carolina. So if the team's not drawing, they're losing and they're not winning. I think a lot of the struggles that I've seen with this team so far is just in build-up play. Like,
Yeah.
and just build-up play and being too slow in the back are really it. But yeah, that's where I go. I'm not gonna go too throw my whole team to the wolves, but I've done that a lot of River City '93. But yeah, I would say Richards probably had my stock is down enough, probably had the worst month of July. But on the opposite side, a team that has impressed me a lot, I gotta go with Union Omaha, man. 4 wins, 1 loss. That 1 loss comes against Lexington, which was kind of weird. But
Lexington has that capability of
yeah,
just like springing
I
up a
get
win like that.
but 10 goals scored, 7 goals given up, with 12 points, and it really pushed them back into the playoff race.
Yeah, I mean, right now, like Omaha's looking at potentially a home playoff game. Like right now, it's like Omaha, Greenville, and Charlotte are all kind of in this like clump.
Yeah.
So it is possible that they, one of them could get a home playoff game. But yes, they've really dug themselves out of a hole that they dug themselves in after a disappointing first couple months where they're just constantly drawing left, right, and center. Now they've been able to pick up some wins. I think that right now things continue. At least they should feel confident about a playoff spot. But they just have to make sure that they don't have another month like they did at the beginning of the season where you're not getting wins, you're dropping points from winning positions. I mean, they've been relatively impressive. The other team I would say is Greenville, just for the same reason, where they looked like a team that was really, really struggling, could not get out of their own way, was constantly just letting goals in left, right, and center. And they seem to clean things up defensively. I think, take away the 3-2 win against Charlotte away, but, they allow 1 goal against Fort Madison, 1 goal against Tormenta, 1 goal against Charlotte, which they lost, but it was still 1 goal. No goals against Knoxville. So I think we're starting to see that typical Greenville defensively solid team again.
Yeah, it really does seem like that. And I think Richmond and Greenville are like polar sides of it because you would come in and think like, all right, Richmond and Greenville are normally the same, but it seems like Richmond's veteran depth and leadership has kind of got them through their rocky period where we haven't seen that same trajectory with Richmond. It's kind of just like been meh.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the review of the month. We'll see how August plays out. That's going to be interesting to see. But
I mean, the interesting is with the playoff odds, it's like all the teams currently in the playoff picture are now sitting at least 80%.
Yeah.
So definitely a lot of teams got some ground to make up.
And what I think last year, what was the line points needed to get into the playoffs last year? Like 38?
I'd have to double check, but it was not. I felt like last year was kind of let me look. I'm gonna look it up. Just give me like 1 minute.
Yeah, the 6 seed last year got in with 42 points.
Yeah.
Like
and the team that finished 7th also had 42. Like
40 right now, Greenville right now is sitting on 32.
Yeah. And again, that's assuming you don't go through a month-long slump too. Like at this point, 30 points was bottom of the table. And I think, and then it was like 30, then 32, then 33. And then it was like gap. And then it was like 40. Yeah. So getting 40 should be, I would have said normally getting 40 would be your goal, but and this is also with 3 extra games, mind you. So with more games, you're probably going to need like a 46, 47 range to feel confident.
Yeah. Is there any team that you think that could crack 60?
I mean, I would say Richmond would have the best odds just because if Richmond can just string a couple wins together. And Tormenta's like Richmond and Tormenta are the two that it's like, yeah, they're on 27. And it's like looking at Tormenta's schedule, it's like, okay, you get Charlotte, you could win that game. You get Madison. They did come into Madison and beat the brakes off of them.
Yeah.
They get NoCo. Like, it gets interesting because I feel like their September is really the month where it's like, I don't know if you're going to be able to do it. And that's going to be the time because you got Knoxville, you got NoCo, you got North Carolina, you got Knoxville again, and then you got Richmond. That is a very tough month to try and string together a series of wins. And I don't remember what Richmond's schedule is like, but I feel like they're kind of on the same boat where it's like,
I mean, I know there's a stretch where you play Union Omaha, Madison, Greenville, One Knox, Tormenta.
Yeah. And that's like, again, both teams, it's like, if you're going to put together a run, it's like Richmond, it needs to be this month.
Oh, yeah.
You got Chattanooga, you got North Carolina again at home, you got Lexington, you got Fuego. Like, you need to get at least 3 wins from those games.
Yeah.
If you can't get those 3 wins, that's probably it for you. With Tormenta, it's kind of I could see, like, August is still not overly difficult for them. Like, they have games that they can win, but September is kind of the one where it's like, if you can't win those, then you got a problem.
Yeah. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to watch. I think August is going to definitely prove the cream of the crop who's better or not. I think the playoff race is definitely gonna tighten up in there.
Yeah.
So Kyle, moving on, definitely. North Carolina. That's why Ev's no longer part of the show. We have traded her.
We've gotten rid of her. She's gone. Yeah, she went to Australia to get milk and isn't coming back.
Yeah, we traded her to the USL show for I can't even say allocation money. What can you international roster spot? Probably
some gam.
Probably so. But yeah, man, NCFC is moving them back up to the championship. Put out a statement, I believe it was yesterday. 3 months. This is the first team we've seen go up to the championship. Every other team in USL League One has either left the league, going to MLS Next Pro, or dropped down to USL League Two in FC Tucson case,
or folded like Lansing.
Or folded. People always bring that up, and I'm like, there's only been one team, and that's because the owner just decided. Which in hindsight, he kind of made the right move because who knew COVID was coming? But
even then, like that was just more like it was like Lansing lost on Saturday, and like the news was coming out like Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, it was on top. Like it was
literally like that was a point. Like he knew, like, nah, we're done with it.
He saw that rent check and he was like, absolutely not.
It's like, wait, I thought having my teams play in the same place would be beneficial. It's like, well, no.
So
it doesn't work that way.
You have to market the team to be beneficial. But yeah, with all that being said, man, God, what was I saying? Yeah, NCFC is moving up. I do find it funny how they started off. Remember when they dropped down the league when they were like, yeah, we're going to work on the youth. We're going to promote the kids. They tried that for a year and a half and was like, yeah, that.
It's like, oh, this is affecting attendance and we're bad. No, you know what? Run it back. We know we can. We know we could go to championship. We're gonna stack up the roster. We're gonna spend the money. We're gonna bring in all these dudes.
Yeah, we're gonna have like a mid-table championship team in USL League One, and just go from there. And it's paying off so far. Because I'm not gonna lie, I had Bradford on the hot seat.
Yeah,
at the start of the year, I was like, if he doesn't win with this roster, there's issues, and he's doing it. He's winning with this roster. Attendance has gone up. The team's played a lot more positive. I mean, you got outside of maybe NoCo, I think you got the best front three in USL League One.
Yeah.
Like that's Rafa.
It's the best attack in the league.
Yeah, it's yeah. And also you got Luis Perez, and you got a dangerous tactic, man. I don't know why I keep coughing. So yeah, happy. I mean, we give Ab a lot of crap. She said she's going to cover Wilmington if they're ever coming back. But
We'll see.
happy for them to go back up to USL League One. I'm pretty sure they're not going to miss the rivalry with Charlotte. They're probably happy to get the rivalry back with Charleston, but yeah,
I feel like there's going to be. I think in terms of getting more casual fans back, this will be appealing and good for them. I think for the ones that did stick around, it's good for them to kind of see the ownership being more or less ambitious as well. We'll see what happens, especially if the ProRel thing does or doesn't happen. We don't know. That was probably something we also need to mention that happened the last month because we were thinking there was going to be a vote on ProRel, and then there wasn't a vote on ProRel.
but as they said, they're taking their time to figure out deliberate options. So
Which they should.
yeah, they should. So we'll go with that. For North Carolina, real quick, we won't go super deep into it, but do you think this roster could compete in the championship?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, a lot of these guys are probably championship quality.
Yeah.
I mean, Mikey Maldonado is someone that could play in the championship. Anderson, McLaughlin, Rafa, Louis Perez, like all these guys are guys that can. Like the midfield and attack definitely could. Like Flores, like they have a lot of guys that could. It's can they get the defense and goalie is where they gotta probably bolster up. Because that back five is not championship ready. But the midfield and attack, oh yeah. They would at least be respectable, I feel like.
Yeah. I would say if they add either a 6 or an 8, maybe a center back and a goalkeeper, I think they'll be mid-table to upper table.
Yeah.
I think they could compete in the East.
Yeah, like the East is not like the East is still tough, but it's not an impossible murderer's row. It's not the East of old, I would say.
Yeah, I mean Pittsburgh, Charleston, Tampa Bay, Louisville. Look, they can compete with Memphis. They can compete with Birmingham.
They can compete with Tulsa.
Yeah, Tulsa, Indy, Miami, Detroit.
And we know they're going to be better than Loudoun and Hartford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say they're probably in that like Birmingham, Miami range. I would say that.
I would say first year back, if you get to 5th seed, that's amazing. If you finish 8th or 9th, that's not bad. First year back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see on that front how that goes. But I'm not gonna lie, it would be cool if they win the regular season title and the USL League One playoffs, get promoted. Then it'll be like, oh, it's proper promotion. Like I'm just saying, like if they would have waited till they won the league title and were like, all right, we're going back up. ProRel Twitter would have ran with that shit.
Oh God.
ProRel Twitter would have ran with that, and it would have been hilarious.
I would have had to mute that whole. I would have had to mute the whole thing.
We had Richmond fans out here. It was like, why are we going back up to the championship? It was like because we can compete here and finances.
Right. Like that is the biggest barrier to going up to championship. Is just simply, do you have the money?
Yeah. Like, can you pay a lower tier MLS roster for starters? If you can't, there's no point in going up to the championship.
Right. That or you better have like FC Dallas quality of academy, and even that might not be enough.
No. Like in League One, if you want to think about it, you're paying for middle of the roster to lower end of the roster wages in League One for starters.
Yeah.
Championship, you're playing, I want to say middle. I would say lower of the roster MLS wages. And that's how it goes. So if you can't pay that, there's no point of going up to the championship.
Right.
And there's no point of going to the championship and being subpar and getting your head kicked in, where you can just be in USL League One and be mid-table and get in.
Well, I feel like that's the thing. It's like, that's where like this whole ProRel thing comes into play, where it's like, okay, are you going to be able to actually compete? Because you can get promoted, but if But that reality of you're either gonna have to spend, and unless there's like parachute payments that come in, it's like what we said, you're either gonna have to overspend to try and compete and stay in there, or you go up and just come right back down.
Yeah. So that would be interesting to see. It would be cool to keep an eye on North Carolina. You know what? Something interesting. I'd be interested to see like how their record looks since this announcement. So far with the announcement,
They got to draw.
they got to draw. I'm just saying, if this announcement comes out, and they revert back to NCFC.
Jokes are happening.
Oh, jokes are coming. Jokes was already coming at the Richmond game. We were telling the players, we were like, hey, we got the hotline for you, the unemployment hotline number for them. I told Olex, I was like, hey, Olex, you do realize the moment they go up, you're not going, right? they going to tell you, hey, son, thank you for your help. Here's the hotline number for USL League One.
I'm just thinking, like, what if North Carolina just had like a Ford Madison 2021, 2022 nose dive and just like don't win the rest of the year and like miss out on the playoffs?
Oh my god,
that'd be the funniest shit.
That might be the worst collapse ever.
Oh, it would absolutely be. Like, you go from top of the table to not making the play. That would be the worst collapse. Like, that would be worse than Tormenta 2019.
Oh my god, yeah. That's the worst collapse in League One. Yeah. Because 2019, we were all like, all right, Torrent is in.
It was like, all right, there's FC Dallas, there's North Texas and Tormenta, and then everyone else is like getting the last two spots.
Not anymore. All right. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about two teams in League One. How to fix your team. These two teams need some fixing. Richmond and Knoxville. And we didn't include Tormenta because they're close enough to get it. Richmond and Knoxville are two teams that, since we recorded, this like really done episode have fallen off the cliff. I think they are both bottom in the last 5 games, if I'm not mistaken.
Tormenta and Richmond, yes.
Yeah.
Knoxville and Richmond, yes.
Yes. So we're not going to talk about Chattanooga. We talked about them enough, and that's you root to that roster next year. Richmond and whatnot, I think both just need like a soft rebuild where you look at what you got. There are some key parts there, but you be like, all right, we can either build towards this, boost this a little bit more, or whatnot. So we'll just simply 2 positions each that we think Richmond and Knoxville needs the booster. And yeah, so let's start off with One Knox. So One Knox right now sits on in the last 5 games. They got 1 win, 4 losses. Their only win comes against Central Valley Fuego, which was, I think, a last-minute goal.
Yes.
So it's very possible. This team is sitting on 1 point after 5 games. If you're One Knox, what are the 2 positions you're looking to build out for next year?
Ironically, striker. Even though they got rid of 2 strikers, striker is 1.
Yeah.
And I would probably say, I'm just double checking like the lineup they threw out there last week. Probably need another midfielder. Like, I feel like Villalobos is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and it's fine, but I feel like Vander Plujum hasn't really, like, the other guys just haven't, and I think like one of them got a red card against Omaha.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just lacking that more like 6/ someone that can just break up, be more of a defensive, like a 6-esque type of midfielder.
Yeah.
I think the defense, like I said, I think the defense is fine enough. Like, they're not conceding. They've only conceded 29 goals, which puts them right in the middle. Mm-hmm. So that it's not like a bad thing. But it just feels like in terms of the goal scored, they're third to bottom with 25.
Yeah.
And they're just not like the goals again are not coming in as much anymore. Like, they don't take that many shots. They're middle of the road at conversions. Their passing accuracy is still pretty low. Like, there's just a lot about this team's attack where the penalties dried up, and now it's starting to get to them. Because I think in the last 5 matches, it's like 0 against Greenville, 1 against Omaha, 2 against Chattanooga, which they lost, 1 against Fuego, which was very last second, and then 1 against Omaha. It just feels like the attack has just dried itself.
Yeah.
So I would say a striker or just some attacker, and then probably a midfielder just to be more on the defensive side so they can let Villalobos do more on the attacking end.
So for me, I think I agree with you in midfield. My bad. I agree with you in midfield. I think they need to go get a number 6. Like, just get someone that can just stand in front of the back line and just clean up.
Yeah.
Like, and just do that. I think that would help out a lot. Okay, I will say this. You either need to go get a 6 or go get a 10. Either one.
Isn't that's kind of where Illich is supposed to be?
Yeah, but they got Illich playing up front as a striker.
Right, but that's the thing. Like, they have Illich who probably should be playing there. Keegan at this stage of his career probably should be. Like, they have guys that probably should be playing there, and they just don't. So maybe, yeah, getting, like, someone that could just be a straight-up 10, maybe that is a good idea.
Yeah. Because, I mean, your front line is good and older, but I think in League One, you can get away with having an older front line. Like, Charlotte is getting away with it. But I think the reason why they're getting away with it is because you have robust younger midfielders behind them.
Yeah.
Right. I would say also goalkeeper. Like, go get a goalkeeper. At least someone that can challenge your number 1.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say that. Go get a goalkeeper. I think the back line is stable enough. I think it's stable enough.
I mean, like, their starting keeper's doing fine.
Yeah, just get somebody to challenge them. Put the heat on them.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. Moving on to Richmond, I would say get a winger.
I was thinking the same thing.
Go get a winger.
I was actually thinking the same thing. I was like, yeah, just go and get a winger.
Get a young, pacey winger. That's it. Just get that.
Because they are definitely missing Bolaños. Like, it is clear how much they miss him and wish he could be, like, someone like him could be around.
Yeah, you don't have a vertical threat.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, go back and look at, like, the Henny Derby, right? Format that literally sat back there with 4. I remember it was at one point, I think it was like from the 20th minute to like the 40th minute. Y'all back lines, it was a straight back 4.
Yeah.
It was straight. Payne didn't push up. I forgot who's the
Crow
left back was. Yeah, he didn't push up. It was literally just y'all 4. And they knew, like, Richmond's not gonna go in behind us, so we could just push up. There's no one to be like, oh snap, we gotta be worried about him,
Yeah.
So go get a winger, and I would say a solid box to box midfielder. Someone who could just be a ball carrier. Like, I think the biggest thing with Richmond, like, you look at One Dogs, I think the one thing with One Dogs is you need to be more creative. I think the one thing with Richmond is you need to be more vertical. So get more vertical threats, people who go straight.
And I was thinking, instead of a box of that, I think like a fullback or someone.
Yeah.
I think a fullback would be helpful. Someone that could just provide a deep cross, I think could help out so much, or at least do more overlap runs or even an underlapping run. I think getting something like that would potentially be helpful.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, Fish is doing great. He got 3 assists. He's doing well defensively. But like you said, those deep crosses is where he's struggling at.
Yeah.
Pitch, not so much. I don't think he has a deep cross. I think most of his crosses once again on the floor. But yeah, it's no one just, who could just get the ball and be like, I'm gonna just whip this into the box and put it on somebody's head.
Yeah.
So that's how you fix your team. Maybe next month we'll do it again and look at some other teams. If these 2 teams are back in the segment again, we got major issues. Talk about teams that are in USL League One that be joining, because we talked about NCFC leaving. Spokane has finally announced they're coming to USL League One. They're going to be known as Spokane Velocity, which is funny Because if you look at the imagery close enough, it's not Spokane, it's the James River. Found that funny. Yeah. We were looking at the video. It was like, that's the James.
Huh.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. But
Whatever
yeah,
works, I guess.
it works. It's a river, throw it in there.
Sure.
Promotion. So yeah, Spokane's will be joining USL League One. They'll also have a women's team as well, I believe. W League?
I thought they were going super.
They might be. It's so
But
many teams joining.
They don't have a team name for the women's team yet.
No. Which, by the way, I found out this bit of news. Richmond's women's team news will be coming out after the season. But it would not be named Richmond Kickers.
Okay. Spokane will be, the women's team will be in the Super League.
Super League? Okay. And they start what, 2024?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're one of the teams that are slated to start 2024, along with like Charlotte, Dallas, Lexington, Tucson, a couple others.
Yeah. The crazy thing is about the W League, there's no team in the middle. Like there's no team in Texas, Arizona, New Mexico.
Oh, yeah, and I don't know why that is, because it's kind of surprising.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. But yeah, no, they got Spokane coming into the W League. Yeah. Okay.
So they got one for the W League and one for the Super League as well.
Let me see. Let's see.
Because they're definitely in the Super League. Like they are one of the inaugural markets.
So yeah, they're gonna have a Super League and a W League team. Wow. Okay.
Ambitious, and nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, talk about League One teams are gonna have teams. So Lexington's gonna have a team in the Super. Spokane.
Lexington.
Yeah, Lexington.
Spokane.
FC Utah's gonna be there.
Yep. Madison eventually.
Yeah.
Chattanooga.
Charlotte. Yeah.
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Yeah.
I think for League One, because I know like Oakland's gonna have one later. Yeah. I think
and
Oakland and like Indy.
USL League One. Obviously, you got Greenville, you got Tormenta, which I'm surprised Tormenta didn't go up.
Probably the same, like probably cost finance.
Yeah, probably so.
I don't know. Like that would be my guess.
Yeah. Trying to see if anyone else. I think that's mostly it. I believe so. Yeah, Tormenta. Oh, well, Charlotte Independent Women's are W League right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then North Carolina Courage U23. Yeah, that's about it right now. So yeah, that'd be interesting to see. See how Spokane does. I'm not gonna lie, I do have this prevailing fear that, granted, Darren Swansky's not having the greatest season, but I have a fear that he's gonna leave at season end to go take the Spokane job to go back home because he's from the Seattle area. And I'm just like, oh God. Spokane's gonna, like, I can just imagine Spokane coming in to Darren.
They're just gonna immediately have beef with Spokane right from the go.
Oh God. It just look at Spokane. They're gonna look at Darren and be like, you can start fresh and you can be home. And I'm like,
it's like that is kind of nice.
Yeah. And I'm just like, God. So that's my fear. I think Darren might. And I mean, honestly, 4 years in Richmond, if I'm kind of speaking of myself. If Darren was to dip out after 4 years, I wouldn't blame him. It's been a successful run.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like to get Richmond up to for 3 of the 4 seasons at the top or near the top is a job well done. Like the run that he had, it is a good run.
Yeah, it's a good run. And I mean, a regular season title, 3-time Golden Boot winner, Golden Glove winner. You got players promoted up to the next level. Yeah. Yeah, that's just my fear. I'm not saying I don't have any knowledge if it's going to happen or not, but but
it's not like it wouldn't be on like a surprise. a huge surprise, I guess.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be a surprise. It wouldn't be a surprise. So real quick, we're gonna talk about the playoff race that's coming up in USL League One. So as it stands right now, there are 6 teams in USL League One that have an 83% chance or higher of making it to the playoffs. As it stands right now, North Carolina has a 99.8% chance. NoCo has a 99.3. Madison has a 98.5. Greenville has a 91.3. UYoma has a 91.6. And Charlotte has an 83.6 chance of making the playoffs. South Georgia and Richmond have a 19.3 and a 12.3 respectively. And then after that, it falls
Knoxville 2.8.
Yeah, it falls below 3% making the playoffs. So as it stands right now, like North Carolina has the highest odds of being a 1 seed, right? At 46%. Is it any team in this sense that you look at it and be like, I don't see them making the playoffs?
This feels like it. My brain wants to say Charlotte because it just feels like I just don't know with Charlotte. Yeah. They've been better than I expected, but there is still this whole thing in the back of my head where I'm just like, at some point, you have to be able to defend. Yeah. And they're doing better than I expected. Like, they've only allowed 26 goals, which is an improvement. But I'm trying to look at the other teams in the league, and it's like you look at the standings, and it's like, okay, well, Greenville and Omaha seem to play pretty well. And then you got NoCo, Madison, North Carolina. So if I got to look at any of the teams, it's probably going to be Charlotte, and they've played more games than they've played the most amount of games.
Yeah.
And they haven't been it's been weird because they beat whatchamacallit. They beat NoCo like 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
But how much of that is like a one-off, and how much of that is okay? This is this is something worth monitoring. Like, I don't know. I would say Charlotte, just because I don't see Omaha and Greenville slowing down that much that it would drop them out of playoff contention.
Yeah. As it stands right now, I think this is the playoffs. I honestly don't see a situation in which, I know we were joking about it, but I don't see like North Carolina, NoCo, Madison dropping out. I think they're locked.
Yeah.
Greenville, Omaha, they're in contention for that 3-4 seed, right? Maybe even a 2. Like, really, if you look at it, I know we even talking bad about Charlotte, but if Charlotte goes out here and wins 2 games and something happens to NoCo or NCFC, they're in the playoff. Like, they're back to being a 1 seed. It has been a while since Charlotte's been a 1 seed, but they're back there, you know? It's very tight up there, but I think these 6 teams are kind of pulling away from it.
Because if you go to the sportclubstats.com, it pretty much has Charlotte like sitting as the 6th seed.
Yeah.
And that's more on the back of Madison, North Carolina, and NoCo are like really, it's like closer in margin. And then you got Greenville, Omaha. So it's kind of like, if there's a team you can catch, it would be Charlotte.
Yeah, it would be.
But I don't know. I do like that. It's like, even if Chattanooga were to win out, like the chance that they'll finish in a playoff spot is 0. I like the highest that they can maybe get is 8th.
Yeah. It really makes you sit there and think, like, what's the chance of this team getting in? Is it going to take a miracle for right now, as it says? I can't see Tormenta and Richmond both getting it. And that's crazy because that's the reigning League One regular season and playoff champion winners not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
you know. But I mean, these teams both had historically slow starts. It's just hasn't been good enough. And like you said, it's going to take what 45
Like around 45.
to get in based on how other teams are performing. So you're gonna need something special to get in.
But even then, it's kind of like,
I mean, yeah, it's a crazy thing to look at and look at it and be like, because I think coming into it, I think God, I'm trying to remember. I think we all said that one of these six we're going to make the playoffs. I can't remember who, but I still am happy with my Noko prediction. Just saying. And this is all with Ivory Power not playing, which is even more funny.
It worked. It worked.
It absolutely worked. I should have bet money on them.
Yeah, that probably would have helped.
Right. It just ride that trade this year and been like, I'm with you. Because they were coming at all of us. I was like, whoa. I predicted y'all.
Don't get mad at me.
Don't put me with them. I predicted y'all.
That is fair.
Yeah, so I mean that's true of that. But we got August coming up, man. We got some exciting matches coming up. I mean, we already had some good games this past week. We had Richmond versus NCFC, which was, I think every goal in that game was a header. No, outside of Hornsby. Hornsby was a shot, but
okay. I was like, wait, Hornsby had like a pretty damn good left-footed shot there.
Right. 3 out of the 4 goals were all headers. That one. South Georgia Tormenta versus Fuego. I don't know what Mitch North was thinking. I don't.
After watching the Red Carl's just like, you just sit there and you're like, what? Why? Like, there's not even like a logical explanation. It's just like a why.
And my thing is, where is Ant-Man?
Hurt. Apparently. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hurt is the only guess I can have.
And then Stephen Payne is having his Rivaldo season of 3 goals and 4 assists. Had another winner last night there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, hey, he's doing it. He's doing it.
He's getting the spots that he needs to. He's getting the shots, and they're going in, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I just got to say, man, like, how do you lose him in that spot?
Well, it was funny because when you're watching it, it's like the whole Chattanooga's just whole left side was just not there.
Yeah.
And granted, Madison won the ball and was able to like get a couple dribbles and then put Jaden Oden put in a good ball for Stephen Payne. But it was just like they just did not pay attention to that whole left side.
No.
And that is why you set bottom of the table.
There you go. Bottom of the table. So I mean, so far this month, we already had 1 weekend of games already played. But I mean, the rest of this month, you got some of the bigger games this month, I would say, to keep an eye out on. Definitely this Saturday, I'm going to keep an eye on that NoCo Union Omaha game.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good matchup. Charlotte versus Tormenta, that's another good matchup. And even
North Carolina, Greenville.
That's a good game. That's a good game.
That might be my Vibes game of the week. I know what my chaos is. Oh, yeah, I know what my chaos is.
What's your chaos?
Lexington Fuego.
Oh, yeah.
That is going to be because Lexington probably should win, and based off like Lexington is going to be on this high. Like it's a recipe, and Fuego just seems to be doing dumb shit, and it's on the road for Fuego. So I wonder. I don't think they flew back to California. They probably just like went from Tormenta, like Statesboro, up to Lexington.
Yeah.
No, that is my chaos because that's going to be a game where I'm just going to look at the score and be like, "What the fuck happened?"
Right. That's going to be interesting. I mean, other big games you got to look. You got Richmond versus North Carolina again. Tormenta versus Madison.
North Carolina, no. I mean, not North Carolina. Greenville, NoCo.
Yeah, that's a big one. North Carolina NoCo. If both of those teams say unbeaten to beat them in that game,
Oh, and there's also
I
one
might make
other.
that drive down. I might make that drive down to
You might have
Raleigh.
to tell me how that goes. August 26th, Greenville, Omaha.
Oh yeah, El Pettico.
That could be a winner, likely gets a 4 or 5. Like, winner probably gets the 4 seed.
Yeah, that's the game you go back and be like, all right, whoever gets this gets the 4 seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit shorter month with games this month. But yeah, it could definitely.
Well, thankfully, the calendar's finally slowing down with teams finally getting around the same amount of games. So you're not having like NoCo staying with 15 games and like Charlotte staying with 21.
All right. So just to close out, is there any team this month that you think will have the best month?
This very much feels like a month where Lexington could really get some wins. They play Fuego this Saturday. They get Knoxville the following week. And then they get Richmond at the end. They could win 2 of those 3. This is a game, like a month, and that's coming off of beating NoCo at the beginning. Like, Lexington could get 2 or 3 wins this month, and it would not surprise me.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Charlotte. They got 3 games this month. They got Tormenta at home, 2 games on the road against Fuego and One Knox.
Yeah.
And they got a good break in between the Fuego and the One Knox game. I would say 7 points is a minimum.
I mean,
7?
Fuego and One Knox, they probably should win. Like, you would go in thinking they should win that game.
Yeah.
Tormenta, maybe? But it depends on what Tormenta shows up.
Yeah. Is there any team to you that thinks they could be at the bottom of the month of points?
Let me look.
So, well, you're looking. I got one.
I might have one.
Who you got?
This is a month where Tormenta could, if Tormenta doesn't be careful, they could really flounder. They got Charlotte, they got Madison, they got NoCo, and then they end in Chattanooga.
Okay.
I know and the weird thing is, like, can they win all these games? Absolutely. But we don't know what's going to happen with Charlotte. Madison's definitely going to want to get payback after suffering the worst loss of the season. And Madison has beaten them in Tormenta, so it's not as though they don't think they can. NoCo, I mean, Chattanooga is definitely like they should win it, but who knows? And then NoCo is going to be a tough one. Like, that is a month where it could get bad for Tormenta. Like, that's one of those where if they struggle this month, they are done.
Yeah. I'm gonna go NoCo. The reason why I'm gonna go NoCo is because
it is a tougher schedule. Yeah.
Yeah, you got Union Omaha, you got Greenville at home. Then you got a short week. You got to fly to Tormenta for that remake game on the 23rd, and then you got to fly back home to play NCFC for that 1 versus 2 battle. Oh no, my fault. They got to go up to Raleigh for that 1,
which might not be that bad of a travel logistically, but
no,
still.
it's not. But if you come out of this month, let's say with 3 points, you can kiss that 1 seed goodbye.
Even 4 points, probably 4 points is probably like even that.
Yeah. Anything less than, oh god, it's a 4-game stretch in which NoCo can either submit their place in the 1-2 spot, or we can look back on this and be like, that's where NoCo lost the 1 and 2 spot at. You feel me?
Yeah. No, this is it. It is a tough schedule for NoCo. Like, this is the toughest month. If they get out of this with 8 points, like 7, 8 points, you can feel confident they are going to get that 1 seed, or at the very least a bye.
Yeah.
But yeah, any struggle, like if they continue the slump, that is not only a 3 seed, that's not only 1 seed gone, 2 seed probably gone, maybe even 3 seed if Omaha take advantage of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be interesting. I think this will be a good test for NoCo to see, like, okay, are they like how dangerous of a team is this going to be? Like, was this 3-loss streak a bump in the road, or is it a sign of maybe like the schedule like all these matches coming in fast and furious catching up to them?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting, definitely, with that. I mean, and the crazy thing is, it doesn't let up after that because they still got Charlotte, Lexington, Tormenta, Madison, NCFC, Greenville, Madison. It's like a damn murderer's row. They go through at that point.
And now it's got like, did NoCo just have a very easy, like, no, they're a really good team, but it's also like, how easy was that schedule then to start off the year? How much of it was taking advantage of just really bad teams? Because if you look at the beginning of the year, I mean, yeah.
I
mean, they got Omaha when they were struggling.
Richmond.
I still think they're a good team, but it's definitely one of those where it's like,
oh yeah, they're a good team. It's just like,
what happened here?
Yeah, like this month of August is going to make or break this team.
Which team are we talking about? Because you're saying giving up a PK 4 and 3, giving up PKs 4 and 3 games. I don't know which team.
I don't know. I just I put it out there. But going back to NoCo, like NoCo. Yeah.
Don't worry. When you play Madison, you won't have to worry about a penalty then. They don't get penalties. We got our one for the year.
Well, hey, we figured out the reason why you don't get penalties because you guys never had a goal scorer worth getting a PK call for.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now we have that.
Yeah, you do. You got that now. Kyle, anything else, my man, before we wrap up?
Check out the Women's World Cup. It's gonna be good matches. That's really all I got.
That's a good comment there.
It's not like NoCo was not a good team, but they definitely were. Yeah, like if you look at it, they were benefiting from a easier schedule than most teams, I would say. And now, like, they get Madison twice. You still have North Carolina. Like, you're starting to get a little bit. It's starting to get a little bit tougher.
Yeah,
but I still expect them to kind of get it together enough to at least be a top 3 seed.
Also, have we kept up with the coaches, the coach of the month, to see how they've done after they won the award?
You know what? Let me get that going right now. Because it has not been. Well, actually, it might have been bad. Okay, so coach of the month. All right, so in March, it was Mike Jeffries at Charlotte. And Charlotte in April. No, they're okay. They're okay. They had a couple wins. All right, we're good there. April was John Bradford. And wasn't there a stretch where North Carolina was just like absolute dog shit in May?
My memory's foggy on that one.
They definitely had a stretch where they were struggling. Let's see.
In May? Let me see.
Yeah, well, no. May was kind of an iffy month because they beat Fuego 2-0, but then they lost to Madison, barely scraped by Richmond, lost to Charlotte in the game that someone threw a beer.
Yeah.
Okay, it got worse for them in June. All right, so we're good there. May was Iman Zaid. NoCo was fine in June. June's coach of the month was Matt Glazer. And before Madison had a rough-ish stretch in July where I think they had like 2 draws and like they went like 4 winless.
And he also got suspended.
Well, okay. I mean, the rest of the shit is going to earn that. And then, yes, July is John Hart. So it's not as bad as it was. Like the curse is not as bad.
The curse isn't there, is what it used to be.
It's still there, but it's not as powerful.
Yeah, that curse is there. The curse is made to be broken. So if your team does good, you get coach a month. Who knows? Write it out. Is there anyone
Maybe
you
it'll be
think?
fine.
Yeah, is there anyone you think will win coach in a month?
In August?
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, if Lexington gets a couple wins, I could see Stockley getting it.
yeah.
If NoCo survives it, I can see it's gonna go by who can survive the month.
Yeah, I think so as well.
But I would say, based off of me saying Lexington might have a better month than expected, I'll say Stockley.
Yeah, I would go Zayed. I think once again, if you can make it through that murderers row games and come out good, I put a pretty high stock on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. All right, Kyle. Anything else, man? Before we wrap up,
I
we
got
gotta
nothing.
get back to doing these shows regularly. So maybe we should do another one next week. I don't know.
I was gonna say next week or 2 weeks. Yeah, we gotta get back into a rhythm.
Yeah.
And we'll have everyone back. People will be back by then.
They go to Fargo. Like, who the fuck goes to Fargo outside of a North Dakota game? And
Even
Ev
then,
is-
why bother?
yeah. And Ev is still at the World Cup.
Yes. I don't
I
know.
don't
if she's
think we're
coming
gonna see her till September.
back. Yeah.
Why is she getting this much time off of work? She must have some stupid ass PTO.
Probably banked and saved it all up.
Probably did. No one had. She was like, I'm gonna work straight for 4 years. Fuck it.
Right. And then there's me sitting here like, I got to use a bunch of PTO and I don't know what to use it on. And I got to figure that out.
Just save it up for the next World Cup. It's gonna be here, so just save it for that.
No, I can't carry it over.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm one of those where you can carry over like a couple days and that's it. So I have to use it all. I'll just
spend
make
it on
up
the
days.
playoff march. I mean, you guys are going to be in the playoffs. Spend it then. Go travel.
I
Go
mean,
watch.
if there is a playoff game, I will. And if there is a playoff game that they have to travel, I will take that Friday off.
Yeah, use it then. But with that being said, listeners, this is Kyle. This is Elliot. We just want to say thank y'all for taking the time out of y'all day to watch the show. We appreciate y'all as always. You can support us at Walker90 on X, not XXX, because that's porn.
I'm calling it Twitter. We're not fucking around with that. We're calling it Twitter.
Still calling it Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, you can like, share, and subscribe. But hey, we haven't been on, and we appreciate you guys who have been checking us and keeping tabs on us. Like we just said, life's just been crazy this past month with anniversaries, birthdays, and all that other stuff. But if you want to support other League One reporters that do the hard work and do a good job at it, check out League One on the Rocks. Check out El Fuego Pod. Check out River City 93. Check out Talking Flock. Check out League One Under the Sea. Check out League One Updater. Is there someone else I'm forgetting? There's a one Knoxville. Oh, Crane Lex.
Yeah.
Covers Lexington. There's a Knoxville one. I'm trying to think. Is there anyone else I'm forgetting?
NoCo.
Yeah, Losers and Riders, I think it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, check them out, man. Support them. Because they do amazing work and everything else like that. So with that being said, guys, we will holler at y'all soon-ish.
At least no more than 2 weeks. We won't be gone a month.
Yeah. And if we do,
that's fine.
we love you.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. See you next week. Be easy.